rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to call the September 16th Board of Directors meeting to order.
Mike?
Good. Mike? Jim? Oh, this is 55 plus. Hello? Is that good? Okay, thank you. It's always good to start out by getting something. The reason we're here tonight is to continue our quest to make South Shore Falls the best community we possibly can. And we really, really appreciate you folks turning out on a monthly basis to support us. It means a lot to us, and it's important for the way we govern the community. Tonight we're going to be talking about roadway safety and sidewalk parking. We continue to get complaints about vehicles blocking all or part of the sidewalk. Please be advised that state and local regulations prohibit this, and these infractions will result in fine notices and violation notices. The actions we are proposing are based on our governing documents. The governing documents specifically refer to these types of things, and it is up to us to adhere to the governing documents. And as a part of that, we're going to talk about the safety and rules for delivery drivers and work drivers that come to our houses to do work and their parking and their use of our roads. So we'll get to that in a little while. Also, a word of thanks to all those who serve on the various committees that assist us in making South Shore Falls such a wonderful place. Currently, there is a vacancy on the Architectural Review Committee and a vacancy on the Finding and Suspension Committee. If you would be interested in serving on these, please contact the office. We have a quorum. There's 4 of us here tonight. Maggie is on vacation. The meeting was posted on September 13th, 2019, and we have in our package the meeting minutes from August 19th. Everybody had a chance to take a look at those? Yes. Any suggestions for changes or modifications? All right, I motion that we accept the prior. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Manager's report, Jason?
Is that me? No. I'm going to keep it kind of short because the majority of the new business covers what we would be working on. The biggest thing, one of the big things we have going on, we're looking for 2 new staff members for the front desk. Most of you know that Heather has left us. She's moved on to Phoenix. Her and her family went on to a better opportunity there. So we made some changes to the staff to cover up that area, and in return we're looking for some front staff members. We have put ads out in many of the papers and interviewed a couple of candidates already, but we continue that search for the right people for that position. Like I said, I don't want to go too deep into much because we are going to talk in new business a lot about the traffic safety and the vendor parking. It's been a big issue so far. We've talked quite a bit about landscaping, and there's some discussion on that as well. So that's really all on that.
Thank you. Sarah, the treasurer's report?
Okay. Yes, it scares you. It squeaks too.
Everything's fine.
Clearly, none of us have been in the entertainment industry.
We don't have any business. Just a quick overview.
You're right under the speaker. Use the TED out.
I'll try one more time. There we go. Okay. I guess the best, let's talk, we have plenty of money, which is nice. We have $837,000 in our operating account, of which we have invested $480,000 in an FDIC insured account that will pay us more interest until we decide how we want to allocate it amongst our various reserve accounts. Our reserves total $1,200,000. Our amount due from homeowners at the end of August was $10,000 approximately, made up primarily by 3 people who are in collection. I don't know where we stand on that. We keep asking for an update. And we have prepaid from homeowners $69,000. Those who would like to pay a couple months in advance and then don't have to make a payment every month. Other than that, the June statement should have gotten posted today, and July should be within the next couple of weeks. Thank you.
One note, Sarah and I were taking a look at the infrastructure repair replacement fund that we set up with the money we received. The opening balance of that was $489,209. We've collected about $500, $700 worth of interest on the accounts we haven't invested in, and we haven't spent any of that money. Each month, we will give you an up-to-date synopsis of the activity in that account as we go through and use this money for the various projects that it's intended for. Thank you. Traffic update, the patrols. When we're talking about these patrols, it is in our guidelines under the initial use restrictions of the things that are not allowed that you signed on to when you bought your property here. Number D says of 2, any activity which violates local, state, or federal laws or regulations. However, the board shall have no obligation to take enforcement in the event of a violation. We have opted to take enforcement action. Jason will be telling you about the patrols. One thing I'd like to say from my point of view, I think Jason should be the only one that knows when the exact time when the patrols are coming here. So we're all in the same boat, and Jackie will be doing most of the driving.
So from now on, I'll let you know when it will be here. I worked with Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office to set up for where they can do patrols through the community. Positives are that they will be random, and by random it will be scheduled, but it'll be scheduled randomly. I know that's an oxymoron, but that's what I was working with them on, is trying to set up a schedule to where it wouldn't be the same time every week, the same number of days, or even the same time periods throughout that day, or excuse me, same days of the week. We worked that schedule out. The schedule, I will tell you this, it's going to start very soon. It will probably be once or twice a week, and each time he's here, he'll be here for a few hours. The goal is not to target any particular thing, but to do patrols through here as a reminder. They will pull you over if you have an infraction. That infraction will be a warning provided that will be referred to the Fines and Suspensions Committee, and then you will have to see them. I think the board was going to make a motion for what those fines would be and what they would entail. You want to go to that now, or
Well, go ahead, finish up, and then we'll go to that.
So basically, the way it's going to, it will be a marked patrol car from Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. We'll most likely have the same guy in here most of the time. It's an off-duty officer. We pay an hourly rate for him to be here. We set the schedule with him, and he will, like I said, it'll most likely be the same guy each time, because he has to be off shift. And the way that we pay them warrants that we want to keep to a minimum of guys. And plus he'll get to know the community and be helpful throughout the community as well. He'll also attend these meetings occasionally and give updates on what he's finding. He's already said that he was willing to do that. So I think it's going to be a good program for the community, just for the safety and a reminder to everyone to proper parking, proper driving, stop and stop signs.
We've talked about this, and I'd like to make a motion that the residents who receive warning notices from the deputies patrolling our community will receive a violation notice from the HOA indicating that a fine will be imposed. The minimum fine for parking violations will be $25 for each offense. The minimum fine for moving violations such as speeding, disregarding stop signs, and so forth will be $25 for the first offense and $50 for each infraction thereafter. The HOA may, in addition to warnings from deputies, issue violation notices for all infractions as it deems appropriate. I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you very much. You got more, Jason? The next thing we want to talk about is,
Maybe we should discuss
when the deputy writes a warning, he'll give us a written copy, is that right?
Yes.
With the name and address and the facts, and then you will receive a notice from the Finding and Suspension Committee of the fine. And the Finding and Suspension Committee will then vote.
Right, it'll be turned in just like a violation.
Regular violation.
He'll be issued into the person at the time, and then it'll be turned in to us just as if it was a normal violation.
Yeah, because the deputies can't issue county
Right. It will not be a county
tickets in here.
and it won't be sent to the courthouse. It will be the same document or the same controls as a violation of the covenants.
But it'll all be internal here.
Right, it will be internal. It will not be something that goes to your driver's license or anything like that. It will not go into the computer system.
Okay.
When are we going to start this? Right now or October 1?
I'm not telling you.
My concern is that there are, 50 people here, 60 people here. There'll probably be another 70 to 100 who view, so we're only talking about 150, maximum 200 people who know that this is going on. And I think we need to give people at least.
We have been talking about this for
Yeah.
several board meetings.
We will be sending out an email once I have Hillsborough County's approval that they will be starting, because I have to send them a calendar. I spoke with the officer that's going to do it. We put together a calendar. I send it into the county. Once we have their okay, then it will begin.
Okay, thank you.
Zego, how about for, pardon me for interrupting, but how about the guest and everything? How's that going to affect the guest and the vendors? How's that going to?
If a guest enters the community, this is the way, and this is obviously the board's decision as well. If a guest, whoever they are a guest of, would receive that. It's part of the home. It's a violation to the home, just like anything else would be.
Okay.
It's not, like I say, the county, the officer cannot write a ticket as if you are on
Yeah, I understand
county
that,
property.
yeah.
So it would be a violation to the property.
Okay, the next thing along the same line is, we've had a lot of trouble with trade, delivery, repair, vehicles in our property. They don't park as close to the curb as they should. They're not using cones in the front and the back, most of them, of their vehicles. Some of the delivery drivers now I'm seeing that are making these fast deliveries, they leave the car door open, the truck door open, so they can run in and out of the house and get back in the truck. So these things are going to change. And this is a draft of a memo we're going to have the gate give out to anybody who comes in here that's a workman or not a residential guest. All vehicles must be fully insured and provide proof of insurance if asked. All vehicles must be driven in a safe and courteous manner, not exceeding the posted speed limit, and coming to a full stop where indicated. Vehicles must park in such a way as to not block any part of the sidewalk. Vehicles parked on the roadway must be close to the curb and display orange cones in the front and the rear. Access will be denied if cones are not used after October 1st, 2019. Advertising yard signs are not allowed in South Shore Falls. Delivery vehicles making frequent stops must have their flashers on while in South Shore Falls. All oil or other spills from any vehicle must be cleaned up immediately. So I think we're going to give this to the gate, and we can start, and the deputies will enforce it as well when they're here. Okay.
I think that just a comment, there is a responsibility on the homeowners too, that when they have contractors coming to their house, that they make sure that those contractors park intelligently. On several occasions in the last couple of weeks, on my street alone, and there have been contractors on one side of the street and contractors on the other side of the street with their vehicles parked right opposite to each other, with the result that hardly anybody can get through. That's just sheer stupidity, both on the contractor side and also with due deference to the residents on their part too. They have a responsibility to make sure that people come to their homes parked correctly and intelligently.
Thank you. It's been a big problem. Hopefully we're going to work towards solving it. The budget process update, Sarah and the Finance Committee are starting at the end of this month, even now, starting on working on the budget. We will have a variety of workshops through the month of October and early November. As we get the budget semi-finalized, we'll do like we did the last couple of years. We'll have several town hall meetings where everyone's invited, and we'll sit here and answer as many questions as you have on the budget. We want everyone to be really involved in this budget. We will be putting out an email in the next week or two giving you the dates that we have planned for these budget meetings and for the final budget adoption meeting, which I think is the last Monday of November, if I'm not mistaken. But those dates, except for the budget meeting, are fluid, so check the calendar, and we'll send out announcements as we go through there. The other thing that's on the docket here tonight is the Architectural Review Committee has put together a charter. You all have a copy of the charter there. It's pretty much the standard charter of the community, except for the points that directly involve them. So I'd like to make a motion that the Board of Directors approve the Architectural Review Committee charter as attached here too. The Board of Directors hereby confirms the appointment of Joe Leahy, Douglas Dick, Al Josiak, and Myra Rudin as members of the Architectural Committee. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you very much. We will be posting this with all the other charters on the website. Bear with me one second. We've been having a lot of trouble with some homeowners turning on their irrigation without permission, which nobody has permission to turn it on yourself. It must be turned on by down to earth. As you've seen by a lot of the cones and wires and holes around the community, especially around Sunset, our irrigation system is tenuous at best. We just can't have people turning on the zones in their neighborhood randomly. It just can't happen. So I'd like to make a motion that the Board of Directors shall impose a fine of $100 per occurrence upon any lot owner or resident who makes any modification, specifically including manual operation, to the irrigation system serving the community. Further, as permitted by the governing documents and guidelines of the association may seek reimbursements for the cost of repair to the irrigation system caused by an owner or resident modifying or manually operating the system. Have a second? All in favor? Thank you. All right, does anybody else have any new business you want to bring up or old business? You want to say anything about the irrigation, just in general?
Well, I'm sure everybody realizes we've had some issues with irrigation for a long period of time, and just in the last week there have been a whole slew of additional problems appearing. And 15 or 20 servants were affected. We have a very antiquated, what's called a two-wire system in the community, and it's the builder used, to put it in layman's terms, bell wire instead of proper wire to set this system up. And the problem with that is it uses twisted wire inside the plastic, and when water gets in there, which it inevitably does, it starts to corrode. Whereas the correct wire they're supposed to use is a solid core wire, and now we're running into considerable problems. I can't tell you what the resolution is at this point in time, other than it's probably going to be relatively expensive. But hopefully our reserves will cover some of that. But Down to Earth are putting together some proposals for us to fix this, and we'll deal with that when we see them. But understand that while the system is working at the moment and some of it's being done manually, obviously that's not an ongoing possibility to continue doing it that way, so we have to get it fixed. And we will do that when we get the quotes, and we can decide how to do it best in the interest of the community.
The last bit of new business, the Finding and Suspension Committee met on September 11th and recommended fines for a home on Silver Falls for too many pots in the flower bed that haven't been removed since notice. They're recommending a fine of $25 a day beginning October 1st. And there's a home on Laurel Falls that has a trellis, and the Finding and Suspension Committee is authorizing or recommending a fine of $25 a day after October 1st as well. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the recommendations of the Finding and Suspension Committee. All in favor? Thank you. John, you got something?
I just want to make a quick statement. Our Contract and Compliance Committee is working, as we've talked before, on a new contract to be bid for landscaping. We'll start in earnest on that next week when Gary gets back. We're looking for an opportunity to change our scope of work so that it matches what we need, and to also to make sure that the items that we're listing in the contract are what we want for the look of our community. We're going to put more responsibility on the vendor for the look of our community, so that they're the ones that are telling us when a tree is sick, not us telling them when a tree is sick. They're the landscapers after all, we are not. And you're going to see some differences in that. But I think I need to remind you at this point that one of the things that we're running into is this. We only get as much landscaping as we pay for. In the last few months, we seriously believe we've been getting less landscaping than we've been paying for. But I think it's important for everybody to know that we will only get, no matter how good or how bad the landscaper is, we will only get what we're paying for. And there's going to be a meeting, there's going to be several meetings that I mentioned last month, I think, that the committee is going to be taking care of in the next few weeks. We'll be announcing it next week for the first meeting, sometime the last week in September, to discuss with any residents that want to attend the intricacies of the contract, what we pay for, what we don't pay for, and why. We're also going to have a meeting on the governance contract documents, rather, to try to give you a little bit more insight into things that we have to be careful of when we do something, because we do have a constitution, for lack of a better word, that we have to live by, and we want to make sure that everybody understands a little bit better what that entails, so that you can understand what we're up against sometimes. But the important thing is we're going to take that effort to try to better inform all of the residents the types of things that we deal with. And the first things that we'll be coming up with are governance and the landscaping committee, and then later on in the year we'll be talking about our property management contract, which is coming up for the end of the year also. Okay? Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you. You have anything else? Jim?
Did you want to wait on that?
I think we're looking into that further before.
Yeah, that's what I agreed with saying, so I don't.
Okay. All right, before the closing remarks, I'd like to open the floor for resident comments. Hello, can you hear?
About our landscaping.
Hold on a minute, we'll wait for the mic.
Give us your name and address, please.
Debbie Oliver, 5806 Hidden Falls.
Can you repeat that in the mic?
5806 Hidden Falls Lane, Debbie Oliver. Let's see, when was it? Okay, June 4th. So
I had, actually it was before that, speaking of our landscapers that came through and ran over my clean out, whatever that is, that little clean out thing. They ran it over and I went in, didn't know they did it. I think I was out of town. I came home, I was like, wow, my toilets don't work. This is really odd. So I'm flushing the toilets. I'm like, I don't understand. Wouldn't flush. Finally had to call the plumber. Finally got everything resolved. The first time the guy said, well, they landscapers ran over your clean out. And I said, oh, so they took the whole top off, so you don't have any pressure, so that's why your toilets aren't working. Oh, okay, no problem. So I took a pot, covered it over, that's where I got my pressure, until I finally could afford the next guy to come out and replace it. So I spent $475 because the landscapers ran my clean out over. Sorry, a little upset. And then of course I put down mulch before our mulch was put down, and our lovely landscapers that came in and cut the grass, and all the clippings are now in my beds. I'm like, oh, great. So everybody else, and I'm sure that had their mulch put down, has had the same issues. So I just have pictures of everything, and of course, I'm sorry, the drip lines that don't work. So my plants are like, oh. So I don't know how many of you also take sprinklers. I know my neighbors do. We put our sprinklers out so that we can keep our plants from dying. And then I just have pictures of my bushes that aren't cut, put pictures of where they can't go through because I didn't trim the bushes, so they come around the backside. They only do the middle, cutting the grass, and then they back out. And then of course, all the grass in my beds that the black marks, of course, are from their machines that they leave on the sidewalks, and then causes all of us to have to pressure clean. So these are just some of my issues that really aggravate me.
Okay, thank you. As regards the personal issues that only apply to your house, you'll have to get in touch with Jason and bring him whatever bills or whatever backup you have that has to do with the damage that was done conceivably by the landscaping company.
I'm not sure that I understand what you're talking about the toilets. I'm not aware of anything that the landscaper could possibly run over that will impact your toilets. But you need to take that up with Jason and let him deal with it.
Hi, I'm Maggie Von Lovett at 58 Newton Falls. I've been here 7 years, and I'm a realtor, and I'm very familiar with HOA fees, and dollar for dollar, I agree, even though I hate to pay $300 and something a month. You can't do that. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Anyway, I pay my $300.
Hold the mic to your mouth.
And, okay, and I say dollar for dollar, as much as I hate paying for it, I do. What I'm upset about is, I'm the one that's out there pulling weeds, trimming plants, watching my plants die because the drip lines never work. I'm really fed up with it. And I don't have a husband or a boyfriend or a significant other, so if someone would like to volunteer, great. But I'm quite frankly tired of it. So my question is, when you're reviewing the new contracts, you've said tonight that we're going to be held accountable for different things. I'd like to think that the landscapers are going to be held accountable too. And if dollar for dollar we're getting what we're paying for, we need to get what we're paying for. And then just to change gears, I have a little bit of concern with what you said about the traffic. Yeah, I agree people speed and they run the stop signs and it has to stop. There's no argument there. My concern is if someone comes into the community and they're pulled over and they say they're coming to see me because they know that if they actually give my name, I'm going to get the ticket, what is to stop them giving somebody else's name? I have no control over that. Is the deputy going to go back to the gate to see who came in just to make sure that whatever resident name they're providing is the correct one? As I say, I don't mind paying if it's my mistake, but I don't want to be held accountable if I have no control over someone else's guest.
The deputies are tasked with getting the driver's license and insurance. They will check everything as they do on a normal job. So we will have we will know exactly who the person is and who they were going to see. If it turns out that wasn't who they were going to see, if they did lie, we'll find that out very quickly, and we will have their driver's license and information. We're going to be very careful with that.
We will be able to compare between where they signed in with their license plate.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Barbara Grossman, 225 Mystic Falls. 225 Mystic Falls. I have a compliment. Actually, two compliments. One, I'm in the pool, resistance pool every morning, and the new company that you all hire is fabulous. We are all very impressed. There's a group of about 12 of us who regularly go into the resistance pool every morning, and he is doing a super job. And the second is a compliment for Jason, because I was told if I send an email to Jason, he'll respond. And you know what? He really does respond. So thank you, Jason.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Yes, sir, Bruce.
Bruce Lavoie, 380 Cedar Falls Drive. I have a couple comments. First of all, I apologize because I didn't bring my notes from the last landscape meeting, but there's going to be a community landscape meeting. I believe it's on October the 6th. Is that right, Ron? October 7th. And everybody's invited. If you have any concerns or you want to talk to the landscapers about it, you can do it then. They're going to set the agenda, but they're going to take questions and answers. There will be refreshments. It won't be coffee and donuts.
It will be.
So it will not be coffee and donuts. And I, the first lady that stood up, and I didn't hear your address.
5806 Hidden Falls.
Hidden Falls. Okay, so you're not involved in this. What I wanted to mention was there's a plumber going around now, and he's working on backflow preventive devices from villas and quads, and he's taking them out and putting them underground. I don't know if anybody else has noticed. I don't know if the board's noticed. It's ironic because just before I came here, I read an accolade on the South Shore Falls website for the great job they're doing, and I'm sorry to say that I see just the opposite. I ride my bike, and I'm all through the community. And what I'm seeing is when they replace your backflow device, it's wherever that tub that he puts in lands, he leaves it at that. When I had mine done, and I'm in a single family home, when Buco did ours, depending if the backflow and the plumbing coming in was a little bit higher, he had to notch the tub so that the tub went down to ground level. And unfortunately, that's not happening now. So there's some out there that are way too low. Many of them are way too high, so that when down to earth comes by, if they hit it, there's a problem. The bigger issue is if they ride over it with a tire, the weight of that, if that's setting on top of the plumbing, it may break it. So I'm bringing this up because I just want to make it aware of it. I'm assuming, and I would like to ask the board, that it's not an HOA problem, it's a homeowner's problem. So if you happen to contract, and I don't even know who the contractor is, if you happen to contract this guy to come out and replace your backflow device, make sure that when he's done, that is level with the grass, because if it's sitting up higher, there's a strong possibility that if they ride over it, they're going to break your plumbing.
Thank you. Jason, can you get a hold of him?
Yeah, if anybody has, and I'll drop it, I'll try to find one, take a look at it.
Also, the dirt around him, it's up to the individual homeowner, after he puts that in, to remedy the surrounding area, put sod in or take the excess dirt away, or I guess you can have someone do it, but it's up to the individual homeowner to do that when your backflow is put underground. Yes, ma'am.
Irene Lee, 420 Cedar Falls Drive. Just to add to what Bruce said, it's very important that you get as many people to come to this meeting with you as you can. Down-to-earth people who are here on a day-to-day basis, and I believe also the person that's the area manager will be here to answer your questions, to take the bullet for your complaints, and we don't want it to be a complaint session. But there are legitimate things going on, and they will be able to explain to you the confluence of weather and all the other things that play into their ability to do their job. And I think you'll find it most satisfying, and we're going to further tempt you with not donuts and coffee, but with appetizers and drinks. I hope you'll come.
Anybody else? Thank you very much. We are, as a board, uniquely aware of the problems that come up, especially with landscaping. It's a large part of our concern. All the contracts that come up for review, landscaping, the major one that comes up for review this year, John's committee and the landscaping committee, we're all looking very hard at down to earth and trying to assess where they are and where we're going to be going with them. We're also, because it's such a large dollar amount, we are going to put it out for bid, and we'll see how that goes. But we're keenly aware of the problems we're having. Anybody else got anything to say? Motion to adjourn? Second? All in favor? We're adjourned. Thank you very much.